Aero mods start today, and we're starting with a big ass Wang. What's up, gang? Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for joining me today. As you just heard, we are starting with Aero mods on the Supra, and when I say starting, this is just the tip of the iceberg, guys. There is so much stuff that I have planned for this car. I'm gonna try my best to piecemeal it out because I want to make sure I capture as much of the purpose for why I'm modding the car in this fashion, right? We're doing the big ass Wang. That's what we're doing today. So let's take a car. I want to show you guys something real quick on the car. This is the, I believe this is the Rec Speed dry carbon rear spoiler for the Supra. Not 100% sure, but it was already on the car when I bought it from the previous person that owned this vehicle. I'm pretty sure it's Rec Speed. So anyways, first step would be to remove that spoiler, and then this is the big wing that's going on. It's a Verus Engineering GT Wing. All right, so before we get into it, I really want to have a short discussion as to why I decided to go with Varus for all of my Aero mods, which you guys will see here in the near future, and not something like Varus or Voltex. So part of what's great about the world that we live in today is computers play a large part into the design aspects of vehicles and, you know, OEM parts. When a OEM is designing new parts or even a new car, there's a lot of what they call CAD. CAD, C-A-D, stands for Computer Assisted Design. Now, what's great about that is that technology has now become much more affordable for aftermarket companies to now use. So you'll see a lot of aftermarket companies, especially Aero companies, like Voltex, like APR, like Varus, use CAD to design their Aero parts. Now, you might be asking, well, if Voltex uses CAD, then why aren't you using Voltex? Well, for a very good reason. You know, Voltex is a great company. It's very popular. It's very JDM. It looks really good, and I like some of the designs that they have for the A90 Supra as far as wings are concerned. What I don't like is it's not vehicle specific. Now, let me just specify, because they do have A90 Supra specific wings, but only in the sense that the mounts are specific to the Supra. The raw design of the wing itself is not designed specifically to the Supra. They have their Type 7 and Type 11 and Type 5 wings that are more or less universal, that they just make different mounting brackets for depending on the platform that you're talking about. And the Supra is no exception. They've done that for the Supra as well. What I love about Verus Engineering and I've used some of their products on my FK Civic Type R in the past before with great success, is that they not only use CAD design, they not only use wind tunnel, but they use it specific to the platform that they're designing the aero bits for. What that means is they don't just slap a wing and create some mounts for a car and call it a day like so many other companies do. They take it a few steps further, right? They design a bracket, but not just a bracket to fit the car, but one that is more aerodynamically sound than just one that's mounted anywhere on the trunk, right? So all of this is analyzed through computer, through wind tunnel testing, through track testing, through CAD design, and it is made specifically to work with their other aero bits, like their front splitter, like the side splitters, like the rear diffuser, all of which are pieces that I'm getting for this car. And I just love the fact that it is a complete package and it's completely designed for the Supra, which is why I'm going in that direction. Verus also has a complete aero package for the A90 Supra. It is insanely expensive, and I can't really say that it is engineered to the same degree for track use like the Verus Engineering pieces are. I think the Verus stuff is it's definitely functional. I just don't think it's optimized. And you know, one of the aero designers that I was looking into before looking at Verus Engineering was Spage Sports, which is the company that Jackie Ding uses. And now Spage actually works very closely with Verus Engineering to fine-tune and optimize the aero that's on Jackie Ding's Supra. So the aero that you see on Jackie Ding's Supra is not exactly the same stuff that you can buy off the shelf with Spage Sports. It is quite a bit more involved than the stuff that's just readily available, and quite a bit more expensive. So I did look into that, and I was toying with that idea for a while, but again, the cost is just so prohibitive. And I don't mind spending the money, guys. It's like, I don't mind spending the money for performance if that's what I'm gonna get, and it looks absolutely amazing. It's just a little past where I'm comfortable spending for the aerodynamic balance of this car. Now, case in point, the Spage Sports stuff is great and it works, and Jackie Ding's aero is definitely optimized. The stuff that I was looking at with Spage Sports wasn't quite as optimized as I would like, and based on experience from people that I've spoken to, wasn't going to give me the balance in the car that I was really looking for. So my best option for everything that I was looking for was absolutely Verus Engineering. So we'll talk a little bit about each piece as we add it onto the car, but for today's purposes, let's go ahead and take that rear spoiler off, and then we'll get started on installing that GT Wing. It is in fact a Rex Speed rear spoiler, so I will be selling this. By the time you see this video, guys, it's probably already going to be sold, so don't ask, even though I know you will. Wow, the carbon fiber on this wing looks so mint. Here's what you get in the box. You get the carbon fiber wing elements. I believe this is what attaches to the trunk lid. Everything is very high quality. It's a kind of a wrinkle black finish on them, very durable. It seems like it would take a rock and resist scratching very, very well. These are the wing stands, and if I'm not mistaken, I think you actually have a choice of what side you want showing on the outside of the car. There's a little contour kind of shaped cutout on this side. I think I'm probably going to have this part facing the outside of the wing. And if I'm venturing to guess that Verus, when they designed this wing mount, that they probably had some aerodynamic purpose for doing these cutouts. I might be wrong, but you know, that's just how much thought they put into their products, that even small details like that, I wouldn't be surprised if it actually served a purpose. And this is actually the bracket support that goes on the under part of the trunk lid once you drill the holes, which I'm absolutely not looking forward to. This basically, I'm probably using the wrong one. This basically goes on the underside of the trunk. It looks like it doesn't line up, but that's because this follows a contour of the inside of the trunk, and I'll show you guys what that looks like when we get to installing it. You get all your hardware, a bunch of stickers, and very specifically cut out 3M double-sided tape, which we don't want to mess up and accidentally make come undone, because we want to make sure that's nice and sticky for when we actually need it. Okay, so here are the templates that Verus gives you with the kit. You got to cut these out, follow the line. This is for the left side of the trunk. This is for the right side of the trunk. I'm going to go ahead and cut these out and show you where these things line up. Okay, so I went ahead and wiped down the area that we are installing the wing mounts to with rubbing alcohol. Wipe down this area. This is a template cut out, and I just kind of did a little mock-up of where it needs to sit. I'm going to go ahead and tape this down with some painter's tape so it's nice and secure. I'm going to center punch each of the drill holes, and then we'll get to drilling. Alright, painter's tape and templates are down. I probably went a little overkill with the painter's tape, but you know what? I'd rather it be super secure than not. Be careful when you're taping the template down not to cover any of the punch holes. This is a punch tool I'm going to be using, just a basic punch tool you can get off of Amazon. If you guys want, I can put the link in the description below for where I got these. Now we're getting into the part of the installation that I'm not a big fan of. I don't like putting holes in the sheet metal of my cars. I've never installed my own wing before, or rather I should say I've never had to drill holes for a wing that I've installed on my own before. We're doing it this time, so what the heck, let's get started.
Legend in my city, cause we beat the streets, trying to spread the wealth around the block. No, I can't keep from me. Told me I should leave. I see the bigger picture and it's way bigger than me. Can't be living like a king, but my people need to eat. If I got it, then you got it.
So we're starting off with an 1/8 inch drill bit, and then we'll move up to the 1/4 inch. This is all per Verus instructions. I actually referred to their video on the installation. It looked pretty simple, so I'm going to start with the 1/8 inch. Drill out all the holes and then widen with the 1/4 inch.
On my own, I'ma be the greatest, write my name in the stone, write my name in the stone. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Yeah, I'm coming back home, write my name in the stone, cause I'm coming back home. Cause I'm coming back home.
All right, first set of holes are drilled. Now we're gonna widen it up with the 1/4 inch.
I'm coming back home, yeah, I'm coming back home. I'm coming back home, yeah, I'm coming back. Push it to the limit, I can't go no more. Red light.
Look at this absolute massacre. Oh my god. And yeah, it's plastic. So just know that going in, it's basically like drilling into a polyurethane bumper. I'll probably end up cleaning up some of these shavings before I install the hardware, but that's basically what it looks like. Too late to turn back now, boys. I'm actually crying inside a little bit. That is already cleaned up. That's as clean up as I could possibly get it. It looks terrible. I'm just glad that this is all going to be covered up, because I can't stand looking at this. Alright, here's what the inside looks like. Inside looks a little bit cleaner. The idea is to go through these plastic panels, so that is correct. Try not to push too far in so you go through the base plate. Looks like I barely nicked it there a little bit, but otherwise everything else is intact. Same on the other side, just nicked it there a little bit. There's the holes. Alright, let's get the plates on. So the next step you're going to want to take is, as per the suggestion of Varus, you'll want to test fit the bracket. So I went ahead and installed 2 studs. You'll use a 3mm Allen key to screw these in. Be very careful not to cross thread them. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this on the top of the trunk lid without the double-sided sticky tape to make sure that all the holes are lined up. Alright, everything looks good. Holes are lined up perfectly, so now we're going to pop this off and get the double-sided sticky tape on. Double-sided sticky tape is on one of the brackets. I'm going to go ahead and peel this now and massage it into place. Okay, bracket is in place. Next up is the backing plate, which I've already started. All that secures it in place is, once you get all the studs in there, is a washer and one self-locking bolt, which you can see right there. You can go ahead and get the rest of them in, and then we'll get the other side in. So it should be worth notating that this bolt right here, the Allen screw that actually comes through the top, doesn't seem quite long enough for this, and I checked all of the studs. All of the studs are the same length. So for this one it's a little bit short, so it might be worth notating that you may need to back the stud out just a little bit so there's enough of a catch here. What I also did is I tightened down these other bolts first, so it'll snug this piece down a little closer to the trunk lid, and then I do this one last. They even give you a new trunk bump stop here, which replaces this OEM piece right here. So pretty simple, just twist out, and then the new one twists in. Alright, that is one side done. It's just going to be a rinse and repeat for the other side. Not going to bore you guys with that stuff. I will catch you when the other side is done. Alright, next up are the uprights. So I'm going to install the contoured end on the outside. I believe you have a choice. You can put this same upright on that side and it will work, but I like the contoured part on the outside. I'm pretty sure there's a reason why Verus designed it that way, so I'm going to go ahead and follow it. All you need is an M6 button head screw provided with the kit and a washer, and that goes right into the side of the mounting bracket like so.
Push it to the limit, I can't go no more. Red light, no way, I'm coming back home.
Alright, now for the fun part, we get to install the wing element on the 2 mounting brackets. Verus sends you the carbon fiber wing element with the different angle adjusters already installed. Very well packaged. and I think that's done for rigidity. Okay, so just as a point of reference, the adjuster plate on the wing, the plate that's already adjusted, or the plate that's already installed on the wing, is going to be on the outside of the wing mount bracket. Don't try to squeeze these on the inside of the bracket. It's not going to be right, and you're going to be at a completely wrong angle, and you might break something. So make sure these are on the outside of each of the wing mounts.
I don't wanna live life fast or die too young. Die too young. 100 miles per hour, might crash.
Alright, so this is the remaining hardware that you're going to need to install the end plates. Just an M4 bolt with a button cap with a washer that goes on the inside of the button cap to prevent any slippage.
Coming back home, write my name in the stone. Cause I'm coming back home. Cause I'm coming back home. Right back where I left because I know my people needed me. Diamond in the rough, I don't know what it is they see in me. Go down as a legend in my city cause we beat the streets. Trying to spread the wealth around the block, no I can't keep for me. Told me I should leave. I see the bigger picture and it's way bigger than me. Can't be living like a king, but my people need to eat. If I got it, then you got it, we gon' get back on our feet. And
The wing is on, and damn, it looks good.
Die too young. 100 miles per hour might crash, cause good die young. But here I come. Push it to the limit, I can't go no more. Red light, no way, I'm coming back home. Long dirt road, all on my own. I'ma be the greatest, write my name in the stone. Write my name in the stone. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Yeah, I'm coming back home. Write my name in the stone. Cause I'm coming back home. Cause I'm coming back home. I'm coming back home. I'm coming back home. Y'all coming back.
So final thoughts on the Verus Engineering GT Wing for the A90 Supra. I was very specific on what wing I was going to use on this car. Function has to be paramount. So the ability for the wing to properly function with the design of the Supra and any further aftermarket parts was the most important part of my choice in this wing. There are some other great choices out on the market. For me, I felt like this was going to fulfill my needs the best. Having said that, after working through with the kit that Verus Engineering provided, it's a great design, and the template really makes it very straightforward to install into the trunk. What I'll tell you guys, if you're doing this at home, and watching the Verus Engineering install video definitely helps. Watching this will definitely help. Some very key tips for you before you install your own wing. The most notable thing that I can think of is when you put the two studs into the top bracket mount for the wing to then put through the holes that you drilled through your trunk. I would recommend not doing more than 2, and I would highly recommend that when you finally seat the top bracket mount with the double-sided sticky tape on the trunk lid, before you go expanding the holes because you think it won't line up properly, make sure you get that top bracket down onto the trunk lid, and then look through the inside part of the trunk to see if the holes line up perfectly. Because it may take some massaging to get even the 2 studs to fit into the holes through the top of the trunk. You may want to try putting one side in first and then the other side next, or vice versa. You may want to try doing both at once. One thing I've noticed is going into the holes that you drill, they may seem like they don't line up perfectly, but once the bracket is actually seated on top of the trunk lid, everything lines up perfectly. So I have a feeling that there may be some people out there, which is why I'm telling you this now, that if you see that it's rubbing a little bit here and there before you get it all the way flat and flush to the trunk, that it may cause you to want to expand the holes or move the hole. Don't do that. absolutely do not do that. Make sure you get it flush, even if you need to massage it a little bit. You know, the trunk lid is made out of plastic, it's not metal. So you have to understand there's a little bit of compliance there when you're pushing the studs through the top hole that you drilled. So give that a shot first before you just go and start expanding the holes and putting more holes in your trunk lid, because that's no fun at all. The other thing that I would note is when you are putting the other studs into the bracket through the inside of the trunk lid, I feel like it's got to be in some of the engineering or in some of the machining process when they made these mounts, because some of the studs don't want to screw in easily. Like, even when, just to see how it fit, I screwed in a few more studs before I even placed the bracket on the trunk lid, just to get a feel for how they're going to screw in when I finally do put them in. And some of them had some catch to them. There was a little bit of I don't know, there must have been some leftover metal from the machining process, and the threads weren't, you know, perfect. And so when you screwed them in, I did it very, very lightly with the bracket off the car, just to get a feel for it. And it felt like it wasn't lining up properly even when it was, because when I went ahead and started screwing it in tighter with an Allen wrench, after a few threads were in, then it finally screwed in fine. So just be wary of that, because when you go to install the remainder of the studs through the inside of the trunk lid, it may feel like it's cross-threading when it actually isn't. It's kind of sketchy because it's hard to trust that it's not cross-threading, right? The dead giveaway is if it's super hard to screw in the stud, then you probably are cross-threading. But that's why it's very, very important to make sure your holes are lined up before you even put the remainder of the studs in. That way you know if there's any real resistance, you're cross-threading. If there isn't, you're probably fine. But just keep that in mind. I'm trying to think anything else. The end plates on my kit, the holes were, it seemed like the holes were just a hair too narrow for where the adjustment of the end plates, where you could slide it up and down. I can't see how I would have installed it wrong, because there's really no other way to install the end plates. But again, it just seems like the openings weren't perfectly lined up with where the bolt threads into the wing element. And I got it to work finally, where I kept the bolts super, super loose, and just got a few threads started on each of the two bolts. And then I, tightened one down a little bit, went to the other one, tightened that one down a little bit, and just went back and forth until it finally went flush with the wing element. I don't know if that's part of the design, if the tolerances are so tight that that's just the way it is. That's my experience. I don't know if that'll be yours. I don't know if other owners have had that experience, but that's how it went for me. But all in all, I am definitely not the guy that's comfortable with drilling holes in my car anywhere. I would say this kit was very, very straightforward, along with the PDF instructions off the Verus Engineering website. The installation, it probably took longer than it needed to, but I just wanted to make sure I was doing everything correctly. So anyways, super happy with the wing. We're going to be putting more Aero parts on the car soon. That's it for today's video, guys. Until next time, stay hungry, stay fast, stay tuned. I'm Michael Baxi, and I'm out.
Okay, I've been working like 3 jobs. Probably why I never see ya. Probably why I never have time for the fake friends that won't be ya. Oh God, I've been running now. Up early when the sun is out. Not setting out my own soul, but those real ones, they coming.